This is Hannibal from thehannibaltv.com and SWEfury.com, along with Cauliflower Alley award-winning referee. He's refereed in Japan, all over the place, and he's also going to be refereeing back in Texas
Yeah.
this weekend, April 17th in Belton, Texas. None other than James Beard, who, by the way, for anyone that doesn't know, JBL put you over in his Hall of Fame speech. So that was pretty cool to see. I did watch it, and
Yeah.
to hear that was really awesome.
Yeah. Well, thanks. John actually called me before that was out and let me know that he was going to say something. So, he's been a good friend for a long time, and I'm very proud of all he's accomplished. He's just a great guy. Done a lot of good things since he retired from the ring, and I'm just as proud of him for that as I am for all the accomplishments he did in the squared circle. So, congratulations to my friend John JVL Layfield.
Very good. And you're going to be refereeing this weekend. There is going to be a battle royal, and the winner of this battle royal is going to challenge the real world champion, Charlie Haas, who I've actually had the opportunity to do some amateur wrestling training with recently. And congratulations to his kids, won some medals over the weekend, by the way. But he is a true champion, a great amateur wrestler. And then the same night, it's going to be title versus title. Rodney Mack defending the television title against the Blood Hunter with Selena De La Renta in Belton. And you're refereeing both of those matches, I believe, and the Battle Royal.
Yeah, I haven't been in the ring in a while. I had some physical problems last year, so I was kind of on the shelf for a while, and that's the first time in my career that's ever been that case. In the almost 40 years of working in this business, I've always worked in the ring, and of course for SWE, it's kind of hard for me to get in there now because it's so busy on TV nights, and it's something I enjoy doing still, and it's kind of, I tell people it's kind of like one of those things. I'm probably as good once as I ever was, but that may not be the case when you're talking about 4 or 5 matches. But we'll see what happens, and I'm looking forward to it. I've got myself back into better shape again, and the physical issues are gone, and I'm feeling pretty good. So I'm kind of looking forward to getting back in the ring for a change. And I guess if you're gonna get in there and get readjusted, you might as well get in there with the best. And I'm in there with some tough guys this weekend, and I'll do my best to try to keep as much order as I can. I know it's going to be crazy, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah, it's only going to be $10 to enter. There's bull riding before that, I understand. The Blood Hunter is actually going to ride a bull, and I'm going to be recording it. So I actually practiced. I actually went down and rode a bull myself this weekend.
I gotta ask you about that. I think you're taking this media thing, a little bit too seriously now. You're actually going out doing research and riding a bull to find out what it's like, so you'll know what to write about or talk about when you talk about Blood Hunter doing this. And what I'm curious about is if you're dedicated enough to do something like that, I wonder if Blood Hunter's actually done any kind of practicing or gotten any kind of instruction, because getting on a bucking animal is not an easy thing to do. I've been thrown off a few myself over the years, but I was a lot younger and a lot tougher back in those days. I bounced a little better. So I wonder what in the world are you thinking going out there and doing that?
Well, I didn't get too hurt. I was winded. I'm certainly feeling it today. Blood Hunter's bigger than I am. I just wonder, though, is riding the bull going to affect him in the match when he fights Rodney Mack later that night? Because you can get thrown into the fence, as you know, by these over 2,000-pound animals. You can get kicked in the face. You can get gored. You can get your neck broken. And on a normal night, stepping in there against a monster like Rodney Mack would be a tough enough challenge.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting.
Well, like I said, I know what it feels like to get thrown off of a bucking animal before. Usually it was a horse, and they're not as dangerous after you get thrown as a bull is. But the fact is just getting off one of those things, even if you can ride one for 8 seconds, just getting off is dangerous. So it's a real challenge. I'm not really sure why I wanted to do that. I'm not sure why you wanted to even find out what it was like, but and I saw what your hand looked like while you were doing that too. That's rough on you.
Yeah, I
But
lost part of my hand, but
yeah, I
I
saw.
wanted the Texas experience. I've been out here and I've been loving Texas, and they said, Hannibal, if you want the full Texas experience, you got to ride a bull. So I can say I did that now. And for the fans asking how to buy tickets, you just show up. It's $10. You bring your own alcohol. There's going to be girls there in Daisy Dukes. There's going to be country folk, and you just show up and you watch, and it's going to be a wild night. The crowd's going to be just as wild as probably the action with the bulls and the wrestling.
Well, there's a lot of a relationship between wrestling and bull riding or wrestling and rodeo. It's just kind of a cousin type thing, I guess. We there was a time when the Mesquite Rodeo Arena was used by World Class for several events, and I've been in other rodeo arenas all in different parts of the country, and it's kind of like I said, it's kind of a kinship to wrestling and same kind of fan base, I think, in a lot of ways, and it should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. You get a little rodeo, a little wrestling, and a lot of fun, and probably see a little excitement on the blood hunter trying to ride a bull, a 2,000-pound animal. Man, it's crazy, but that wrestlers are crazy. So I remember years and years ago, World Class had Tony Falk. If you remember Tony Falk, definitely not a bull rider, but he had kind of a cowboy gimmick, Cowboy Tony, and it was they actually put him over a bull, or tried to, at the Mesquite Rodeo Arena back several years ago, and it didn't work out too well. But hopefully this will be a little bit better experience for Blood Hunter.
And the show is a benefit event, and that's
Right.
why SWE is participating, and that's why you're participating. Could you tell us a bit about I think it's a young girl that this event is all going to benefit?
Yeah, I'm not real familiar with all the details and everything, but I do know there's a young lady there that's local in that Belton area that needs some help, and Aaron Presley really has put this thing together. Of course, you know Aaron, he's our ring announcer, but he's also promoted wrestling for several years, and been very active in our business, and he's part of the board of directors of SWE now. So he's put this thing together to benefit this young lady, and we're happy to do that, because that's kind of traditionally what wrestling has done in different parts of the country, and SWE wants to do some of that, and do more of it actually as we go forward. We've got our TV nights; they're busy, 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 but we also have other nights that we could go to different towns and do some benefit type things like this, and we'd love to be able to do more of that, especially now that things are loosening up and people can actually come out and come to the shows, and there's not so many regulations and things in the way. So I'm excited about it. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's my understanding that nothing has been announced yet, but there is some house shows in the works in the coming months for SWE. So that's something where
Right.
you need to follow SWE on Facebook, follow the SWE YouTube channel to stay up to date on that. But one event that is not going to be a house show, it's going to be actually a Fight TV pay-per-view in Irving, Texas. Next Saturday, April the 24th, is Sprang Stampede with your buddy Big Cass, Melina, Teddy Long, Mil Mortes, Charlie Haas, Christy Janes, the women's champion, Rodney Mack will be back, and the Blood Hunt. It's going to be a big event, and it is going to be on Fight. There's new production people
Yeah.
involved as well. So the production values of SWE are going to increase. And I did do a video from the studios of these production people last week, and it's really impressive. They've done some work with WWE.
Yeah, I saw that, and it is exciting that part of the production, that part of the presentation of SWE is upgrading right now, and we're always looking to improve things. You know, this has been a if you think back on it, in 2 years, this company has gone from nothing to where we are now, probably the fastest growing company in the business, and we have improved all of our production and our presentation as we go along, but we're not satisfied yet, and we're trying to get to that point to where people can turn on and trust what they're going to see on our TV program is going to be quality, and we're just going to keep going forward, and it's exciting, man. I tell you, it's been incredible. I keep hearing all these wonderful things about SWE from different places and all over the world, really. And I know last weekend was WrestleMania weekend, and all these people are down there, and I'm hearing reports from people that were there at WrestleMania. You know, 100,000 people or more. I guess I don't know how many are there, but I keep hearing that the talk of the place was SWE, and a lot of people have called me about that, and I'm still I'm getting indulged with guys wanting to come in and wrestle in SWE right now, and it's just incredible, and it's exciting right now. It's an exciting time for us.
Yeah, and people keep messaging me about wrestling for SWE, and I keep telling them, message James. I'm just a reporter. I have
That's
nothing
your
to do
fault.
with it. But it's good that there is the interest. But I see that our guest this week, speaking of the 24th, he's going to be involved in a strap match. So we'll bring him on right now. James, you know this man very well. Max Castellanos, who has been
Yes.
involved in a very bitter feud. Is it the longest feud in SWE history with Moonshine Mantel?
Yeah, it is, it's it hasn't slacked off at all since it started, and it kind of started all of a sudden, and probably need to talk about that a little bit. Max, how you doing, man?
I'm better. How about
You're
yourself?
better? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm doing great. Are you in the States or in Mexico right now?
I'm in Mexico right now, but I'm just saying, nobody checked up on me. Everybody checked up on Moonshine, see how he's doing after, me beating his ass. But what about me? Nobody's checked up on me. How's Max doing? All of a sudden, 2 weeks later. But anyways, we're not gonna go down that road.
Well, I guess that's what we're doing right now. We're checking up on you, trying to find out how you're doing and what's on your mind and how you feel about things. Before we get into all the elephant in the room, the deal with Mantell, let some of the fans know a little bit about you. I mean, where did you start? Where did you train? What's your background in the wrestling business? Because you've kind of come in the last year or so. You really come into kind of public view.
So I grew up in Mexico all my life. I would travel back and forth in Texas, but majority in Mexico till I was about 12, 13 years old. And cartel activity started getting very bad. So for us and my family, we were going through some stuff with that. So we eventually had to move back to Texas and stay in Texas. While I was in Mexico, I would train boxing. I always loved wrestling, but at the time over there, boxing is a lot bigger. Well, they're both lucha libre and boxing are very hot. Once I moved to Texas, I decided I wanted to pursue professional wrestling. So, for some time I was in Texas, went back to Mexico, and then I went to San Antonio to go train with Rudy Boy. And I trained, and in about 3 months, I was able to have my first match. So I picked up things pretty quick. I was training about once to twice a week, but I was getting everything, and I understood. So I knew I was coachable, and they didn't have to tell me twice, so I could understand, what was being said, and I put it to play. After that, I started traveling around Texas, and then where I'm at right now.
Yeah, Rudy's one of the better trainers for sure. I've known Rudy a long time, and he started out a lot of great wrestlers, and he trains them the right way. That's no question about that. I understand that you still go back to the training center occasionally and work with some of the younger guys. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes whenever I fly into Texas and I have some time, is I go take out my anger issues on the students. But sometimes get in the ring with them and roll around and see, the type of talent there is. But for a fact, I feel I've been the best talent that has came out of the Texas, for the TWA in the past 15 years. So.
Well, you said you take out your anger. Is there a reason for that? I mean, what is it you're angry about? I mean, explain if you can.
Well, what is this, anger management now? I got to explain myself my anger issues.
No. Just asking. I mean, you brought it up. You said you take out your anger on the younger guys sometimes, and I was just wondering what it is you're angry about.
Well, you'll find out on April 24th what I'm angry about.
Well, we know about the deal with Mantell. I don't really, honestly don't understand how it started or what the background is. I know you guys you were friendly at one time. You actually a tag team at one time, and that all changed all of a sudden. What is the start of that issue? What brought that about, and why has it gotten so intense?
So here's the thing. We go back, Mantell, as he claims that he helped train me, helped this and that. There was some truth to that. He would go in there and get in the ring with me and stuff like that. But I always hated the fact that I was, how can I say it, is not compare, but be like, oh, you gotta be as intense as Moonshine. You gotta do this as Moonshine. This is Moonshine. No, there's not this spot for you. We gotta give it to Moonshine. And I kind of got tired of that, of me pushing me to the side. And I'm like, hey, I know what I'm worth. And the thing is yeah, you put us in tag team partner as Moonshine and his tag team partner Max Castellanos. Why can't they say it the other way around? Why can't they say Max Castellanos and his tag team partner Moonshine? No, it has to be Moonshine first. You put a poster, and now you got me all worked up. You put a poster and you post, Moonshine Mantell's face, and you put me every now and then. That pisses me off. And that's true. And that should explain why I did what I did. Because it was an opportunity for me to climb up the ladder, make a name for myself. And I'm tired of sitting down on the sidelines and just seeing other guys take opportunities and other guys be the faces of the company, especially SWE, the hottest company in Texas. I want to be the main guy, not just one of the main guys, the main guy. So does that explain a little bit of, why I do what I do, in the past?
Well, I understand the competition aspect of it for sure. I mean, it's part of what this business is about. It just seems like this has gotten a lot more than that, more personal than anything else. And I didn't really get to know you personally. I've known Mantell a long time, but he was always a pretty cool guy, But it seems like this thing has gotten really personal and it's so intense right now. Why? I mean, that's what I'm asking, I guess.
Because it's destined to be that way. I'm the best thing that happened to Moonshine in his career. I have brought the best out of Moonshine. He could have wrestled all these guys in the past. And Max Castellanos is the biggest rival that Moonshine has ever had. And I get a little worked up here, but I'm so passionate about this. And the thing is, in this business, the small time that I've been, I kind of understand that I'm not here to make friends. I don't care if Moonshine's a nice guy in the back, this and that, and make friends. I'm not. There's a limited time for me, a time frame that I want to be the absolute best. And I want to climb that ladder. Not be Moonshine's tag team partner or just hang around, in the locker room, see what was there for me. I know my value. And the thing is, yes, between me and Moonshine is very intense. And if it wasn't for those stupid security guards stopping him, I would have lit him on fire. Maybe I would be in jail right now. I don't know. But how about when he was hitting me with the bell on the head? Nobody checked if I had a concussion. I was busted up. Nobody stopped the match. But as soon as I pull out the belt and I start whipping him like I'm his daddy, all of a sudden Teddy Long comes out, right? And he's like, no, stop it. If you touch him again, you're fired. How funny.
Well, the difference, Max, is that the bell was part of the bull rope match. I mean, that was part of the match. I don't remember a belt or a lighter fluid or a lighter being a part of the match. I mean, that's kind of taking things a little bit far, isn't it? Don't you feel like that's a little out of the competition realm?
Can we move on to the next question?
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to get answers. I'm just wondering, and I know can be a violent business, but I wonder what's prompting you to feel like you have to go to that extreme to do something to someone. I mean, that's something that could hurt somebody I mean, permanently, really.
Maybe, but things happen, right? That's life, and that's how you learn. So, how is it my fault that first I give him a chair shot in the head? Next, I break a 55-inch plasma on his back. Third, spray some Clorox in his eye. And now this, wouldn't he be smart enough to say, hey, maybe there's something coming, I should watch my back? I blame him more than I blame myself for him being so stupid and not keeping his eyes open. And plus, I understand the bell, it is part of the match, but he hit me like 20 times in the head. And nobody even came to check if I needed, a water break or if I was seeing clear. Maybe I wasn't even thinking clear. Maybe because he hit me so many times in the head, I wasn't even thinking clear. And that's why I was going to do what I was going to do,
Well, I guess one of the things I'm kind of wondering is if that's the case, why was there lighter fluid underneath the ring? I mean, I know that's not something that's normally there. How did that get there?
It's your ring, not mine. I mean, I don't know what the ring crew puts down there. How are you going to blame me for that? Do you have any?
I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just asking if you knew how that got there, and then I mean how the Clorox happened to be in that place. I mean, that's not usually there either.
Clorox is a cleaning supply for COVID-19, especially being
that's true.
virus.
Yeah, that could be explained that way, I guess. I don't understand you having a lighter and a lighter fluid though. That doesn't make much sense to me.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they were going to barbecue after. There were some beers. Maybe they were going to cook some steaks and chicken. How do I know? I just happened to bump into that when I hit the steel steps. I looked. I'm like, oh, look at what's down there. So, you might want to ask your ring crew what they're putting down there, or what. That's not my fault.
Well, okay. Well, in the history of wrestling, there's been certain feuds that have gotten so intense that guys got to a point to where it actually derailed their careers a little bit. Are you worried about that? I mean, I can remember Tommy Rich and Buzz Sawyer back in Georgia back several years ago when that feud got so out of hand and so crazy and so over the top that both of those guys got to a point to where they were not going anywhere in their careers anymore because they were fighting each other all the time. Do you worry about that?
Honestly, I don't. I just think of the now. I'm not thinking about, I know, we got to think of him, but no, we'll see where this goes. And the thing is here you go, comparing me to somebody else again and having to, whatever things happen. Same on the 24th. It's a strap match, a lumberjack strap match.
Yeah.
You see how you signed me up to this? And then, man.
Well, I mean, you don't have to agree to it. That's Teddy Long actually had that idea. I mean, you brought the belt out first and started with the strap, so it was kind of a natural thing for him to want to do something like that. That makes sense to me.
First of all, I think the ref was involved in this because he was in the way, and I tried to move him, and I bumped him, and then he bumped into Moonshine. That match should have been.
So the belt just came off accidentally. Is that what you're saying?
No, absolutely no. That was on purpose because that was me trying to teach him a lesson. I don't know. I think it's Moonshine and SWE versus Max Castellanos. This is how I feel sometimes, and that's probably how it is. So that's why I do the things I do. And the ref cost me that match. That match I had it won already. That's
Well,
okay.
I mean, it's almost gotten to a point to where winning and losing doesn't have much to do with anything. It's just about beating each other up and doing damage and that kind of thing. And I wonder, where does this all go from here? I mean, what happens if this strap match doesn't end it? Where do you go from there? What do you do now?
I don't know. I can't answer that question. Because same like if you would ask me back in San Antonio after the chair shot, where would this go from now? I wouldn't be able to tell you. Go roll with the punches, see what life throws at you, and you never know what you might bump into. So that's all.
Do you have any thought about doing something like, well, just like that chair shot in San Antonio? I mean, that could have not, that could have killed the guy. I mean, it really could have. And some of these other things that's happened. I mean, that's pretty extreme. I mean, do you ever think about that, about injuring somebody to a point to where they can't go on anymore, or is that something you're concerned with?
I really have no answer for that question. But Moonshine keeps coming back. I give him props. He's tough.
Yeah.
He keeps coming back. So okay.
Well, I don't think there's any question that both of you guys are tough. I mean, that question's been answered a long time ago. I just wonder, how far this goes and how does it end? And let's say it's over next on this next match. Whatever happens is resolved. Where do you go from there? And what do you want next? What are you looking for in NSWE or in your wrestling career? What are you looking to do?
To be the number one guy in SWE. So here's the thing. Going back to what I said earlier, I don't want to just be one of the top guys. I want to be the top guy. So we go on and everybody can break down who is the top guy. So Moonshine, everything that's going back and forth is being an example to every single wrestler in that locker room that I don't play around. Once I'm done with Moonshine, the next one better be careful because I'm coming for that number one spot. And
well, that's a pretty crowded thing. I mean, you're talking about Charlie Haas at the top and guys like Blood Hunter and Rodney Mack I mean, we've got Wes Briscoe coming in. Kaz is here. Gangrel. I mean, there's a lot of tough guys out there, man.
And I'm supposed to be scared because you hype them up like that. I'm supposed to be.
No, I'm not. I'm not pretending that you're scared of anybody. I'm just saying this is a competition, and it's tough. It's really tough. I mean, I understand, and I appreciate the fact that you want to be on top. I really do. That's what you should feel. But
Listen,
I just wonder.
When you grew up the way I grew up and the stuff I went through in Mexico, none of this scares me. None of your guys that you just mentioned, everything they've done, I have the whole respect in the world for them. But still, that's not going to stop me from climbing up the ladder. And if you want to build up Blood Hunter and Charlie Haas and Big Cass, and like I'm supposed to just say, hey, I'll sit back here. No, there will be strategy, but I'm not going to back down. So like I said, going back to Moonshine is just a stepping stone to my career, getting bigger and bigger as the months go by. That's plain and simple.
Well, you talked about your upbringing. I mean, what is it about your upbringing that causes you to feel the way you feel? Is it just from being in a tough situation, or what?
There's more than tough situation. What the thing is, when you grow up where there's guns, violence, drugs, all this stuff, and you see this right in front of you, it changes you. It makes you into a man a lot faster than if you're born, in San Antonio, Houston. I mean, there's obviously different bad parts everywhere. But what I'm saying, a regular upbringing of a 15-year-old, hanging out at Peter Piper Pizza with their friends, playing for tokens and stuff. There's a whole different meaning of us over here watching out for our lives. Gunshots going left and right while you're hiding underneath the cars. There's a big difference. So if I've been able to get through that mentally and emotionally, I can get through anything, and I'm not scared of anything. I'm not scared. I fear no man because I know how to defend myself. I know how to take care of myself. And I've proven that I'm not afraid of moonshine or anybody and the SWE. I want to make that clear.
Did you have any? You said you grew up with boxing, I guess, as an influence, and obviously there's a lot of great Mexican boxers. Did you have any Mexican or any heroes in wrestling that you looked up to?
In wrestling or in boxing?
Oh, both actually.
Well, Oscar de la Hoya. And wrestling, here's the thing with going to wrestling, because here's the thing. Yes, boxing was part of my when I was younger, but for me, it's kind of like it's kind of like when a guy is married and he's with his wife, but he's looking on the side, looking at the other girl that he wishes he had, but he's not. It's the same thing. I had boxing, but I was looking over because of real interest was wrestling. And the thing is, it was, as much as lucha libre is very popular in Mexico, I was always drawn to the American style, to the WWE, to the WWF, WCW, NWA, you know, big guys that were larger than life. And for me, it was always like, I want to be portrayed as that. Because the thing is, you look at Latinos, you look at Mexicans, and they're like, no, están muy chiquitos, están muy chaparritos, no están muy grandes. They're not big enough. They're not tall like these guys. Well, I've been genetically gifted, I guess, for a Mexican. Like some people say, oh, you're pretty tall for a Mexican. You're pretty big for a Mexican. What's that supposed to mean? Huh? That we're supposed to be, what, 5'7", 5'6"? Well, I'm 6'1", 245. A little bit bigger than your average Mexican. So I take pride in that. Because the thing is, it's been a very long time since there's been a top Latino Mexican superstar in the wrestling world. There's been greats like Eddie Guerrero. But the thing is, if you look at right now, I don't see any. And there's a spot open. There's a spot open for the market because how many Hispanics, how many Latino kids, Spanish speaking, watch professional wrestling on a weekly basis? Millions. They need somebody they need to look up to. And sometimes, things happen at a certain time, or, like they say, the perfect storm happens. I feel the perfect storm it is for me. And it's about to start.
Well, I agree with you that it would be a wonderful thing for the Hispanic youth to have somebody to look up to. And there was a time, I mean, I remember Jose Lothario from many years ago, that he was a bigger guy and a very traditional type wrestler. He wasn't a lucha guy. And he was very popular in the state of Texas. And a lot of people looked up to him, Hispanic and otherwise. It didn't matter. But he was a hero. Do you perceive yourself or see yourself becoming a hero? Is that what you're looking to do?
I feel I'm a hero already. That's what I think. I may be wrong, but at the end of the day, I don't care what anybody thinks. At this point in my life, whatever I'm doing, this and that, I think I am doing the right thing. Some people may agree, some people may disagree. It doesn't pay my bills. I really don't care. It is what it is. Life is unfair sometimes. Obviously, how the saying is, we got to get used to it. The same thing in this situation. So, pretty damn happy with myself. Live in Mexico, enjoy the beaches, the women. Don't have to worry about working an 8-to-5 job. Don't have to worry about, staying with one woman only. So yeah, I'm living a pretty good life right now.
I've seen some pictures. I've seen some pictures. It looks like you're having a pretty large time sometimes.
I saw his promo. I saw his promo with the lady. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, the lady, the White Claw lady. That's what they called her.
There's a fan that wanted to know, Max, if you could explain to the people that don't speak Spanish what your nickname means.
So El Chingon de Texas, Chingon is a very popular word used in the Hispanic culture. Chingon could be used as badass, as big, as larger than life, as like you could say, oh, that truck is Chingon, like it's a badass truck, or that it's kind of used like that. So being, you know, trained in Texas and wrestling mainly in Texas is El Chingon de Texas. Somebody called me that. I believe it was back in 2018 at a wrestling show, and after that, it just stuck. And then I just started using it.
So this is that's just a name that just came around from somebody calling you that all of a sudden. Is that what it is?
Yeah, because when I was growing up, like I was always out of all my cousins, I was like the bigger one and stuff, and I was like, oh, hey, chingón, vete pa acá, like ese está bien chingón, like this kid is this big motherfucker over here, come here, this like it's always been something I've been called ever since I was a kid, and then when it was
Okay.
in a match, it just clicked. I was like, man, like I haven't heard somebody call me that in a long time. It just brought me back to Mexico to like, when being a kid and stuff. And like always in class, I was always a kid with the big head, the taller one, always in the pictures, in the back. So yeah, it always, they would say your head is chingona, like it's super big. Well, I had to grow into my head eventually. So it's just, like I said, something that always has been with me.
So you started with Rudy Boy and trained with him. Did you have any other trainers besides Rudy, or is it that the only?
Yeah, absolutely. I did multiple sessions with Booker T up in Reality of Wrestling.
Okay.
I also did multiple sessions with Funaki.
Okay.
So yeah, those were my other two. Like I said, limited sessions. So it was not like with Rudy is where I spent my time. I learned everything. When I went up to Reality Wrestling back in 2018, I think it was in 2018. I went in and I tried to go for a spot, and as I'm going to the restroom, I bump into Booker T, and then he looks at me, he's like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "My name is Max." He's like, "Where are you from?" And I'm like, I got trained in San Antonio, over here kind of starstruck because somebody I grew up watching, and, I really can't talk. And he's like, "Do you have your stuff?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, change." So next thing I know, 5 minutes later, he calls the whole roster. And if anybody that's been to Booker T's in the back, he has two rings, for training and stuff like that. So I remember it was Booker T, Bruce Pritchard, MVP, and the whole roster. So he says, "Hey," he's like, "Have you ever talked to that guy over there?" He points at a random guy. I'm like, "No, I don't know." He's like, "Okay, you two get in the ring, 5 minutes." I'm like, "All right." But I was trained properly by Rudy, so I knew I could, pull off a match out of nothing. So we did the match. We finished the match, I believe, like at 4 minutes and 50 seconds, like 10 seconds before our time. And after that, he's like, "I think we got a spot for you here." And that's what happened. After that, I kept going, and every single month.
Yeah, that's an old training tactic for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Throw you in there and see if you know how to work with 5 minutes.
Yep. And it was simple because it's something I
Yeah.
did every single day at training with Rudy Boy. So.
Yeah.
Max, Mike would like to know your thoughts on Tito Santana.
To be honest with you, I never really followed his career. I'm not going to sit here and lie. And I never really followed his career. So I cannot, name matches and as far as his wrestling stuff. I've seen couple like, back and forth on YouTube and stuff, but nothing where I sit and I can tell you right here. So that's my
And
answer.
Wesley would like to know if you could talk to somebody, whether it's a wrestler or an agent, I guess, from AEW, Impact, or WWE. Who would it be and why?
If I could choose one,
Yeah.
That's your question, one only?
Yeah, that's what Wesley's question is here. If it could be one person from any of those three companies, whether it's a wrestler or whoever, who would it be and why?
That's a good question. Honestly, I have somebody in mind, but it connects to a personal story. I mean, for me, but I don't feel like sharing that at the moment. So, yeah.
This is a good question from Matt R. If people could look you up to watch just one of your matches, what would it be and why? I would have to say my favorite that I've seen of yours is from this week's SWE Fury TV show, the cowbell match.
I have to agree with you. Yeah, absolutely. That match. Yep. I felt as much as I can't stand Mantel, and I know he's honestly brought the best out of me and my best performance, my most aggressive aggression of who I am. I can say it's kind of like same like the Joker needs Batman and Batman needs the Joker. Feels kind of like a mutual thing, you know. I feel alive in that ring, and I feel more intense than ever when it's time to kick his ass. I can't explain it. It's just chemistry, something intangible, something you can't really explain. You just feel it.
Well, there's definitely styles make fights. It's the same thing in boxing, but you guys are really pretty similar in style. You're both very aggressive. Both of you very physical. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just you're too much alike. Maybe that's what the problem is.
Yeah, could be.
Very good. And there was another fan on here that says, would you consider wrestling Moonshine in a cage?
I'm not scared of it. Maybe he is. As long as I get paid what I deserve and what I ask for, sign me up.
Well, I haven't been in a cage in a long time, but that might be something that I'd put the I'd put the gear back on for. I can tell you that.
But being that ever happens, I see why you shouldn't ref that match.
Well, that may happen if that comes to that. We'll see what happens.
There's another fan on here asking, how much can you bench press? I know you work out very extensively.
So there was a time I actually competed in powerlifting and strongman when I was 20 to 22 years old. My best bench press is my weakest lift has been 395. My squat has been 600, and my deadlift has been a 625. So those are my three best lifts I've ever done. Complete drug-free, natural. So I take pride in that.
And where can fans follow you if they want to look you up on social media?
So on social media, it's going to be on Instagram, Max Castellanos 80. On Facebook, it's Max Castellanos, and Twitter is Max Castellanos 15.
Very good. Well, I thank you a lot for joining us. The powers that be want James and I to cover a few other things. I wish you luck. April the 24th. It's going to be on Fight TV for people that want to watch it live on pay-per-view, and it's going to be at Southern Junction in Irving, Texas, for anyone that wants to go see it live. More information is at swefury.com. Do you have anything to say to close off about this fight that might be your last fight against Mantel?
Stay tuned. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to be a good one.
Oh, thank you, Max. Appreciate you coming on with us.
Very good. Now, James, there's a bunch of other. Well, what did you think about that? First of all, that was a very intense fellow. That might be the most intense interview you've ever conducted on here.
Yeah, I don't look at myself as a great interviewer or anything, but I feel like I feel like the guy is just so focused in what he wants to accomplish, and I wonder sometimes, what these young guys are thinking when they get to that point and they get involved in something as intense as he's involved in with Mantell, and I hope it ends up being a positive thing for him. I really do. I really hope it turns into a positive thing. But I worry sometimes that these guys get so caught up in that one thing that it hurts their careers later on. And I've seen that happen before. But you know, he and Mantell both are great competitors, and I think they'll both come out of it okay, no matter who ends up on top. And this may be something. This may be still going on a year from now. Who knows?
Yeah, there's a big rivalry. I've talked to Mantell about it as well, and there's no love lost with these guys. Just to discuss some of these events coming up here,
Yeah,
there is, of course, the one we've been talking about, April 24th at Southern Junction. Then May 22nd, it's going to be right in downtown Dallas at Eddie Dean's Ranch for another TV taping. Then June 19th, about 2 minutes from where I am right now at the Irving Convention Center at Las
yeah.
Colinas. I'm really excited about that. Then July 24th, we're coming to Lubbock, Texas. So you want to talk a little bit about those huge shows coming up?
Yeah, we're kind of spreading out a little bit now. Of course, I'm this next one in Irving at Southern Junction. We've been there before and had a great crowd there. I'm anticipating that we're going to have an even larger crowd this time, and I know the matches are going to be great. I have no doubt about that. I'm excited about Eddie Dean's thing, and it's downtown Dallas. It's real close to where the old Sportatorium used to be. So that's it's kind of like bringing back some old memories, going down to that part of the town and that part of the country again. And I'm excited about that. Of course, we don't know what the lineup is going to be there. And a lot of that depends on who wins and loses on this next one. And of course, the big thing in Convention Center in Irving, the city of Irving is getting behind us on that. And I think there's going to be a lot of special guests coming in for that. We had a big fan fest type thing in Carthage, Texas. It turned out wonderful, and I'm sure that the powers that be are putting together another list of big stars to come in and say hello to the fans and sign some autographs and some pictures and that kind of thing. And that's always exciting to have those special guests come in. Even though they're not wrestling, they add to the flair and to the atmosphere of how important those nights are, and I'm sure the matches that night will be special as well. So that's great. And then going to Lubbock, man. Oh, I just lost myself.
You're that excited about Lubbock, you threw your computer up in the air.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Am I there?
Well,
There I am. I did.
well, you're getting.
I hit my wire. Yeah.
So
Can you
as
hear
you're
me?
saying for
Yeah.
Lubbock, I know I've never been to Lubbock yet, but maybe you could tell us about that. I know there's a rich history of wrestling there.
Well, yeah, West Texas has got a great history of wrestling. I mean, the Lubbock, Amarillo, all that area, Abilene, that whole part of the country is that's the funk country. That's where all those guys were made famous out that part of the world, I say. But they had the same. We talked about it before. They had the same style that we have right now, and same style that we had in Dallas at the Sportatorium. That get in there and fight type atmosphere that you have, and it's exciting to be able to go to West Texas and do this again. It's been a long time since I've been out that way for a wrestling event, and I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm hoping that we do a lot more of that. I think we're talking about trying to make it to Amarillo, and that's I think the last time I actually worked a wrestling event in Amarillo was the last match of Dick Murdoch's life, and that was a long time ago. So I'm anxious to go out in that part of the country again.
Now there was a wild character, and Lacey Von Erich actually announced this at WrestleMania weekend. She did some great videos. And she had Kevin Nash on. I don't know which event this is going to be. It hasn't been announced yet. I've wrestled this man. very tough opponent. Speaking of Amarillo, though, Terry Funk was the referee for that match, and he cheated. Kevin Nash gave me a low blow and put me through a table. It wasn't an ODQ match, so he cheated. But he is coming to SWE, and that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I don't know that we have a date on that right now. Maybe he may be one of those people that show up at the convention center in Irving. I don't know. That's yet to be seen, and I'm sure that there will be a lot of other people added to that if that's the case. But yeah, you can I've been around Kevin a couple of times, and he's a big dude, man. You talk, he and I think he's probably about the same height as Kaz, if I'm not mistaken. A tall
Yeah,
guy.
they're both up there, and he's a two-time WWE Hall of Famer now.
Right. Yeah.
Just a very popular wrestler, and it would be great to have him involved with SWE. A couple new matches have been announced for the 24th that I'll bring up. We had Wes Briscoe on last week. He's going to be taking on Mil Mortes, which should be very interesting. And then there's this women's title match, Christy James defending against Renee Michelle, two fantastic lady wrestlers.
Yeah, I think Renee held a title for another company not too long ago, if I'm not mistaken, and she was a former WWE wrestler as well. I think should be a great matchup, and Christy's got her work cut out for her to hang on to that title with that kind of talent after her, and I'm excited that Wes is coming in. We had him on a week ago, and I know you guys know each other very well and know what kind of competitor Wes is, and we know what kind of competitor Mills Cortez is, and that should be a well of a match. I'm telling you, that could be the match of the night. Who knows? But I'm excited to see Wes coming in with the attitude he's got right now. I think he's going to make a strong showing in SWE.
And of course, there's the SWE Fury app that they're still continuously working on, putting on more content. I've had the app developer on this podcast. The SWE Fury app, you can go to the SWEfury.com website and look up how to download it. But I believe it's very easy to find. They have some custom footage on there with you, James, and all kinds of stuff. So that's pretty exciting that SWE's got this app going.
Yeah, the future of that app is really exciting, and I think it's very interesting for wrestling fans because there's so many things that you can do with that thing. I'm a tech idiot, so I can't tell you everything, but I know there's a lot of interactive type things, a lot of information you can get on the app. There's a lot of exciting things that we can use that app for. As far as spreading the news about SWE Fury and the information about the stars in SWE Fury and where we are and what we're doing, and I think there's some. I think there's ways of doing all kinds of little tricks on that thing that they haven't even explored yet. So I'm excited about that thing in the future too. And we've got our YouTube channel that's doing really well now. I talked to Tom the other day and is excited about it. The YouTube channel, and we've got over 1.5 million, I think, views on it's just crazy,
It's grown at a very fast rate, and recently someone even did an article about SWE and the popularity of it. And there was one thing wrong about the article. They mentioned it was only on in 3 states. I actually counted last night, and it's actually on in over 20 states. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's gotten out there, and I don't even know where we are right now. And of course, you can get us anywhere basically if you go to Fight or YouTube, So it's not like if you're in Alaska, you can find us somewhere if you got a good enough signal there or good enough Wi-Fi or whatever. But it's exciting that how much this company has grown and all the comments and accolades that have been coming our way especially in the last few months. It's unbelievable, and I'm so proud of the way we've done it. I mean, I know that you can't make everybody happy, and I know there's a lot of guys out there that want to work for SWE that we just don't have a place for right now. We're trying to find that situation where we can get more people in here, but we just can't do it, and there's only so much room and so much time. And right now, with the way we have to do TV and shooting, as much TV in one night as we do, it's a long night, and I hate that, but that's just the way things have to be right now. But it's so exciting what's in front of us right now. I think there's a lot of good things coming, and it's just going to get better.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And if people do want to get serious about joining SWE, Mark Henry had a interview video this week. He's part of the management team now. I know he supervises these wrestling camps that you're part of before the television tapings, and you guys recruit and often give tryout opportunities straight out of that camp. So it's worth the trip if you want to get noticed to make your way down. Maybe you could tell us a bit about the camp on the 24th.
Yeah, we have anywhere from 40 to 50 typically to show up for those things, and a lot of times some of the same guys come back for every camp. And like I've said before, we're not trying to take the place of the regular training regimen. We're trying to enhance that. We're trying to give them I guess, a different vision or different perspective of things, and we have guys that can do that. I mean, Rodney Mack and Jazz are our main trainers down in the dog pound in San Antonio. We have several of our wrestlers that come in and participate in the camp. Niles Blanc, Adam Asher, and myself, and of course Teddy and Kevin, and now Mark is more involved in that, and he wants to be more involved in that process. And it's, I heard him talking that same interview we were talking about, and he made some great points. That we want to try to be as open as we can be with our talent. It's so tough. I know I'm in a position sometimes when I hate to even I hate to have to deal with some things that we have to deal with, because a lot of guys out there I really do, and sometimes I have to tell them, sorry, it's just not the time right now, or we had to make some changes, and something's come up. It's trying to be upfront with them as we can, and I think that's an important aspect of growing this company, is having that kind of relationship with the talent. And Mark is dead on in talking about that, and that's something that's kind of dear to my heart, because I was always part of the talent. I was always kind of one of the boys, and being in more of the management side of things now, sometimes it's tough for me, because I keep wanting to be in favor of the boys, and I understand that the business has to be taken care of, and it's a tightrope, but you got to be fair, and you got to be honest, you got to be open, and he made that point, and I think that's something very important in this business that you have to abide by.
Yeah, so I would highly suggest, even Kevin Sullivan watches those camps and gives speeches. So I don't know exactly how much it is, but to get Rodney Mack, Jazz, you, Mark Henry, Teddy Long, Kevin Sullivan, and whoever else happens to be in the room that day to look at you and advise you, that's a pretty good deal.
Well, and that's another aspect of that too. There's eyes on you, that you don't, all of us have connections different places, and you never know who's looking at you and why, and who they talk to, and how they're impressed about somebody in a certain way, and if you listen to guys like that, Mark and Teddy and Kevin, who've been around and are all Hall of Fame type guys. And, I've been training guys since over 30 years now, started in Japan years and years ago. And Rodney Mack and Jazz, they're two of the best trainers around in the business. And we've got guys, Niles Blanc has his own training center up in Missouri. So and Adam Asher trains guys. So we've got guys that on our roster that actually invest in paying it forward. and we're all very dedicated to doing that in the best way we can. And the good thing about it is all of us have basically the same kind of mindset about what really belongs in this business, and we're trying to convey that to the talent and trying to give our perspective, and hopefully we're helping some guys along the way, even whether they work for us or not.
Very good. And if anyone wants more information, again, swefury.com. James, there's a few people commenting on here about your book that's available on Amazon. And I think you always have copies at the events too, if they want to.
I don't typically go out to the tables. I may do a little of that now. I had a new supply of books come in just a few days ago, so I've got some available. I really probably should put those on the app. That's another one of those. We've got some merchandise out there that people can buy from SWE, and I probably should talk to Tom about getting that included on there so they can do it through that way. Or if they want to contact me directly, I'll be glad to sign a book, and you can pay PayPal, and I'll mail them to you however you want to do that. Yeah, I'm not hard to find on Facebook, so if you want a book, then I'm happy to. And I keep telling people this, and I procrastinate, but I've got to finish up the second book and get things updated a little bit, because I think I've got a good story now to tell, especially with all this stuff we've done with SWE, and I know a lot of people are curious about that, I want to tell that story, and I think that's part of what this second book is going to have.
I'll throw in one question for you from a fan here that's asking, who were some of your referee idols?
Oh, wow. I'll be honest with you. I don't know that I idolized anybody. I watched, of course, the guys in Dallas, David Manning, and that were current. He was a guy I watched, and way back Marvin Jones, way back to those days, and of course Bronco Lubitsch was a great mentor. I don't think Bronco was the greatest referee in the world, but he was such a respected guy. He was very effective. There's been some great referees out there. We talk about the Tommy Youngs and Dick Worleys and Ronnie West and Charlie Smith, and oh man, I can't even go on and on. A lot of my contemporaries I have a lot of respect for, but I don't know that I really idolized anybody in particular. I've talked about this. I've just got thrown into the business, and I kind of did it my own way, and I had a natural feel for it, and it's something that I enjoy still doing when the time comes. And I'm looking forward to getting back in the ring this weekend for a change. It's been a long time now, and it should be fun.
Yeah, I'll put the poster up for it before we wrap up here. It's at the Bad Dog Rodeo Arena. This poster says 6 p.m., but I believe it actually starts at 5 p.m. for the bull riding, and the wrestling is after the bull riding. Adults is $10. Kids 10 and under, only $5. That's pretty good entertainment, and it is a benefit event for a young lady from Belton, Texas. So I'm looking forward to covering that. Some of the matches there are also going to be recorded for the Hannibal TV. I'll be there helping with the recording. So I'm looking forward to seeing you in action for the first time. I've never seen you referee.
Yeah. I'm excited about that, and the Blood Hunter match that should be a crazy, and we haven't even talked about it, but Charlie Haas will be there defending against the guy we've been talking about tonight, Mantell. So I believe that's right. Is that correct?
Oh no, I think you got that confused with another house show coming up.
Oh, that's
Charlie
okay. Yeah,
Charlie Haas is going against the winner of a battle royal.
Yeah. Okay. I got you. Yeah. Yeah.
So we don't know the
right.
opponent yet.
Okay.
But yeah,
but he will be defending his title that night. So you'll get to see Crazy Charlie no matter what. I get somebody.
And I understand that Charlie Haas is quite a line dancer, so he'll be right in his element there in Belton, Texas.
Well, I don't know about his line dancing. I've been into a couple of bars with him over the years, and I never saw him dance. He's not a very good singer. I know that.
Yeah, I know you're in a band. I'm a pretty terrible singer as well. So maybe you could sing the national anthem at the start.
Well,
So
that's another one of those things that I keep talking about doing. I have some friends that want me to put together a CD and have that available too, and I may do that at some point and see what happens. I've still got a lot of old cuts of my old band and some studio stuff and some live stuff, and I may try to put together something that sounds kind of decent and put it out there and see what happens.
Very exciting. I'm looking forward to hearing that. Well, thank you for doing this podcast again. It's always a pleasure to do these interviews with you. I'm looking forward to seeing that strap match, which is going to be live on Fight TV if people want to order it, between Moonshine and Max. And I'll let you close this off however you want.
Well, I'm just, like I said, I'm just really excited about all the things that's going on for us right now. I keep looking down the road and thinking, a year from now, where are we going to be? A year ago, where were we? And here we are doing all these crazy things and getting so much attention. And I'm so proud of SWE Fury. I really am. And the guys that are behind the scenes doing all the work and letting us, take the accolades, the guys up front like myself and Teddy and Mark and Kevin, we get to be part of the face of it a little bit, but there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes that nobody talks about. And I appreciate that so much. And that's what's made this what it is. And I'm looking forward to this being the biggest year for us yet. So I come out to see us this Saturday night in Belton, Texas. That's down there close to Waco. And then, of course, on the 24th, we'll be back in Irving, and that's going to be a heck of a night. See you there.